welcome on back. Oh, hello. What do you have for me today? Nothing really that I need. Actually, I will take those because of the buckets, but I will take the llamas because of reasons. Huh. I feel like almost in a scary movie. Like I'm chasing him down. Alright. Okay. Now we have the llamas. We'll take them over to the llama collection area. Try not to sound messed up with all this, but yeah, basically I've got more llamas. I'm going to add captive llamas. Oh, there we go. Oh, well, there you go. You fell into the thing. I don't know how to help you. Let's see. Actually, that's not really fair. I mean, there. Okay. Oh, actually, wait. That was kind of a cool thing. Although it's a little, nope. I'm gonna make it one taller for the llamas. Kind of like that. I mean, really get down to the nitty gritty, but there we go. I guess that. And then the annoying thing is like dirt is considered different, and path blocks are considered different. Okay, jumping off into the water. I like it. All right. Anyways, yeah, this place is quickly turning out to be one of my favorite bases. But I do need more bone meal if we're gonna really harvest the trees and stuff. And here we go. So, and this episode will be a little bit of base building and a little bit of exploring. I do want to still get this map explored. And also explore some concepts. I was also just thinking about some of the discussions I'm having on the Twitters and realizing that people, I can say it all day and it doesn't really click or make sense until you say it in a certain way that allows you to make more sense of something. And by that I mean, when you talk about like, and I hate talking about this because it is one of the two taboos for a reason. Religion. It's it's just and I hate even saying the two taboos now because I just watched a video from Tucker Carlson the other day and it was annoying. I mean, like had some points, like some concerning points, but then at the same time it was like, I don't know, just kind of cringeworthy and didn't really seem accurate. Ah, so now we have one acacia. We'll stick around to get the saplings for this one because I bailed on the other one. Let's see, and I think that's, yeah. So now it should start disintegrating and dropping saplings. The reason I got the tropical fish was for the buckets. So now we have buckets to start doing like a farm if we wanted to out here. Let's go ahead and take the birch down so we can have like a whole actual birch farm. But I mean, even with the birch, we had two saplings compared to the one acacia. So, yeah. And see, that's why it's nice having like a whole bunch of these things. Because, I mean, they grow slow, but when there's tons of them, that doesn't seem that bad. And there's some really interesting, like, land formations under the water. So, let's see. Oh, and then the sand fell. Awesome. was actually just thinking, I was like, do I really want to put him right in front of the pathway? And then boom, the sand is not stable in areas like these. Hmm. Okay, there we go. Now I think it should start disintegrating faster. Maybe. Oh, anyways, back to religion. Sorry. Just because it is so important to global security, peace, and prosperity, like everything relies on proper clear and communication and understanding about religious beliefs, basically. Like it is human nature to have religious beliefs or spirituality, however you want to phrase it or think about it. Um, there's nothing wrong with that until it starts impending or impeding on someone else's livelihood, spirituality, religion, any of those. And so, like, I'm talking to one guy about Christianity, and I'm talking to another guy. Well, I just made a comment to another guy about Islam because he was saying there is only one God, there's the one true God, Allah, and well, yes, I've heard that said before, but then I said to him, like, how dare you try to have another word for the same earth, like, or I didn't even say how dare because I try not to be like confrontational, but I said something like, if you call the earth by another name, it is still the same earth. Like, who are you to say that, like, the name of the earth is this when it could be this? Like, basically meaning, like, if there's a God, because again, I'm still speaking in like scalable terms, and I am skeptical. Like, I mean, I'm not saying like, oh, there's no God, and like, oh, woe is me or anything like that. It's like, I, I just don't believe it all the way. Like, I don't believe it to the point where I would risk my life for it, basically. I would, I mean, I don't think I'd want to risk my life for anything unless it was like to save another life or something, like, and even then, I wouldn't, like, if I know the dangers, like, I don't know, that sounds cowardly, but and that's the thing too. It's like, you know, depending on how your assessment maker is, like your history, your experiences, like the way that you make decisions. And granted, remember, your decision maker isn't fully developed, and that means that you aren't able to make as good decisions as you would until your mid to late 20s. So there's just that part. And then on top of that, um, you have more time to be aware of things too. So really, just up until your mid to late 20s, you're really just not. That was creepy. Hmm. I don't like that. I mean, as long as you're not gonna hurt me, I'm like getting the axe ready. Like, I mean, do I gotta kill a panda? Like, but no. In fact, we don't have to kill a panda. Or well, sorry, that sounds wrong. I just saw the acacia saplings, and even though it's a little slower, there's two of them now. So we'll get that going. But oh, what I was gonna say is we can actually breed the pandas with the bamboo. So we've got some bamboo, and now we've got quite a bit. So whenever I want some, I can just come over and. Oh, I still had some. Okay. Yes, have some bamboo, and you too. All right. So I did say we'd also do some exploring. So we have some trees going. That's good. We have the big. Oh, is that one of the? I think that is. Yeah, that's one of the big ones. We planted the two. Remember, the two big trees. Let's actually go ahead and do that real quick before we go off exploring. Let's. Or no, never mind. No, because we don't need the wood for anything. We'll build a base eventually. No, let's stick with it. Let's go exploring. Let's do some mindless stuff. Let's leave a bunch of this stuff here. Like we don't need the buckets. Um, don't need the chest, apples, wood, that, or that. Yeah, because now we've upgraded both the maps, both the anchor map, which again, like, huh. Hmm. Well, I'm not too worried if that doesn't fill out, but I want to say like on another video, like that filled out, and then I'm also concerned about the green dot on my map. So we'll go ahead and do that. So we're gonna start going out this way. Oh wait, in our boat. We don't really need our bed unless we want to make the time go by faster. And we're not trying to do any like base building or anything or nether porter building, so oops, I fell off. I was distracted looking over there because until the kelp gets like actually loaded in, it looks like all these columns, like there's like little cities under there, when really they're just the kelp. So, and actually, there we go. Now it's, oops. Oh well. Now it's time to cut up and start exploring that anyway. All right, and so the whole point of today, and this is now like video 3, or no, I think this is video 4. I played Minecraft for 4 hours today. Well, hey, that's a good Saturday in my opinion. I mean, oh, huh. What's going on here? Okay. Advertisements. I don't usually get message or text messages, which is nice. And actually, this is something. So this is just general advice. So I know we were talking about religion, and we'll get back to that. But general advice for the world today is don't answer your phone. That goes against like everything you're taught when you're a certain generation, like at a certain point in time in our history, in our recent history, the method was is you answered every call you got because if it was something important, and it was common decency too to the other person, like, or it seemed like, oh, you're too busy to talk to them, and really that started happening after caller ID. So caller ID happened, and then you get the whole concept of like, oh, are they trying to avoid my calls, or then you have a whole nother kind of like area of concern, problem solving, and study. All these different things. Because this is kind of more of like what a sociologist would do. Like when I did take that class in sociology, just one, a freshman one, and it was just studying different peoples, different cultures. I mean, even subcultures within America. We talked about like the Hells Angels. We talked about, law enforcement. Like then we talked about African cultures like Darfur, the child soldiers, and how they're like still having like warfare, like actual warfare, mind you, with each other. And I did look this up recently, and I think it's getting better, but I mean, I don't have anything to really base that off of. I'd want to go back and like read. And that's the thing is like, it sounds so messed up that I'm so nonchalant and like people dying and like literally kids shooting and killing each other. Um, like we're worried about it here in the States because we've got like mass shootings and like school shootings and stuff like that. But they've got like actual soldiers, like, I don't know, it's apples and rotten apples. Like it's all bad. Actually, they're both rotten apples. Like it's like comparing a rotten Granny Smith apple and a rotten. Oh, okay. So that's why it's dangerous to have the tropical fish. But those just spawned in. So this is like a tropical, like warm water biome area. I don't know if it's like officially that, but there's pockets of like tropical fish. So that's encouraging. Sorry, the reason that's encouraging, I don't even know if it has to be tropical, because if you want to go to the ancient cities, that's where you get the sniffer eggs, and that's what the other thing we were going to test out for this being the new update. Because I'm pretty sure it's just the new, just like Caves and Cliffs was, like this new area. But we'll know for sure. Ooh, that's cool. Always cool seeing a cave. Actually, yeah, let's pop in and let's take some coal. I constantly run out of torches. I forget that. Well, and also you get experience, so a little bit of experience for my pickaxe. But so we can explore some caves and get some ores. But you can just make more torches on the fly without a crafting table. You just need sticks, which we don't have. We don't have. They're back at the base, but we can get sticks pretty easily. And actually, let's keep Okay, there's really nothing in here. But anyways, if we stumble across this again later, although actually, wait, hmm, I say that, but it almost seems kind of messed up. I don't know how much I want to explore these caves, because I have in mind that like I'm going to be letting either my kiddos like have entire sections of these areas, or and like my buddy has Balagma, but like we didn't really get to the point where we even were talking about, all right, well you get all of this one, I get all of this one. It never really came up, but like as close as our bases are, that was kind of like our area. You could almost fit like 5 people in that like map size. So with how much we use the land around us, but I mean, for the sake of like giving someone the opportunity, woo, to like actually be able to play a full like fulfilling game. And now that I'm kind of thinking about like, I wonder if there's one stronghold per map, because like that would be interesting to see. And I haven't done that. I haven't fought the Ender Dragon in a long, long time. I haven't even done it in this map. Um, but something to consider, something to study. But anyways, back to this religion thing. So I was talking to this guy talking about Islam, and that is what's written on the Saudi Arabian flag is there is only one true God, Allah, and like all of this, and like they're really trying to drive that point home. And that's what my buddy was saying was like kind of their problem is they've got the older generation that's really stuck to like everything is haram and halal and like whatever that is, and it's forbidden by the Islamic religion. It's just something that you're not supposed to do. Oh, is that like another? Sorry, as we go, just kind of looking around and seeing what's around, because we do need to find um, what are they called? Water temples? I don't know. But anyways, and then archaeology. I don't understand what archaeology is, so I'm gonna need to figure that out. Because I've heard there's like archaeological tools, and then to get the sniffer eggs, you need to go into the underwater thing. And really, doing anything underwater is stressful when dealing when it comes to Minecraft because you can drown. That's one of the ways you can die and lose all your stuff. And for me personally, I have a traumatic, almost like a PTSD, but not really. I mean, it was just a game, but like it is still traumatic on the game when you build up, you've got like you put all this time into building these awesome tools, and you've got your armor and your sword, and you've like spent all these diamonds. And remember, all of this is like, and there's another ruin portal which you got to watch out because that could suck you down those magma blocks. Um, Anyways, yeah, so all the cost of that is all of the time that you put into building those tools, harvesting those resources, mining those resources, and then, yeah, so even just playing Minecraft is good for giving you a little bit of a global perspective on just understanding opportunity costs. Like, how much time did you spend, you know, and then it gives you some kind of frame of reference or an idea to compare. Sorry, I'm getting like really excited there. It gives you a frame of reference and like an idea of how to compare things, um, which is important. I mean, a lot of these things I talk about, like I am pointing out human nature, and it's important to understand that it's human nature, and then it's important to understand why we could be doing better. And that's why you hear people saying like be better, or be better, or do your best, or like the Boy Scouts motto, do a good turn daily, and then always be prepared. And then you got like military mottos and military oaths and like law enforcement mottos and oaths and Semper Fi and all this. Like, I don't even remember what Semper Fi means. It's like never give up, never surrender. But again, like, it's like, oh, there we go. Water temple. Boom. So now, hmm, there's not really a good way to mark it on this map. So once we get ready to go see a sniffer, like, so the other thing I wanted for underwater temples, like my main point here is like let's get this explored. I don't want to because that could be a whole couple of hours, a whole side episode or two, just to like see what's in there. When like what we could do is make a whole episode and be like, all right, today we're gonna find a sniffer. I'm more looking for cherry groves, just to see if like a cherry grove loaded into this because it's not a chunk, it's a map. And even what's cool about the city texture map, I just noticed, is like it's even split into like, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 16 grids. So I'm about to like explore one whole grid here. Well, not a whole one. I mean, the bottom part's still got a little that needs. But then also the border. I don't know. My point being is like the map is split into 16 sections, but the map chunks are kind of that big, but I'd almost want to say 4 times as small as that. So if you were to take every one of those 16 squares, well, what's left of them, because now we've been exploring, and if you were to split those squares into 4 sub-squares, go away, dolphin. Okay. Yeah, and sorry, that might seem weird, but dolphins tend to take your boats if you're not. So those of you that are, just joining us, I've definitely ranted about that before. It's like, and I found that out the hard way. I was playing not in peaceful. Another reason I play in peaceful just because it's not worth it. Like, the stress, because like at least for me, that's why I play Minecraft is for the peaceful nature of it. Just kind of like relaxing, meditating. Like the world's stressful as it is, and it becomes a lot less stressful when you learn how to communicate better. And and communicate better also includes using communication technologies. Now, I recently found out someone close to me um, isn't comfortable with emails. Okay, so and that's fine. That's fine. Like I mean, I work with a lot of people. Usually it's more of the older generation, but like that doesn't mean that people. So to be good with tech, you really have to be interested in something. Something has to catch your eye. And it used to be like audio visual was very technical. Like, I mean, it still is technical, but I'm talking about like roadies and, musicians, assistant people, like the people that set up the sound systems for music venues and concerts. Like they had to know a lot of technical stuff. And really, anyone that could afford anyone that could afford to invest money in a sound system for their house. Because now we're kind of getting back into those haves and those have-nots. Because without that experience of having a sound system in your house, you don't have the experience of, oh, these are these speakers or these plugs do this or these wires. And there was all these different like things that you had to learn. Same with like a camera, like a camcorder, a camera recorder, like, all of these things. Now we just have them in our cell phones. And depending on how much money you can afford to invest in a cell phone, the better the camera you're going to have, or the better the audio recorder you're going to have, or all of these things. There's a meme out there that I'm thinking of that, and when I could start editing these videos, I can actually like plop the meme on the screen, or if someone wants to remix these things, then they could do that. Like, but hint, hint. Anyways, that's how you get free editing. Um, okay, this wasn't as well as I planned. All right. Anyways, my point about all that is like we have better tools to communicate, but that doesn't mean that everyone's going to automatically like understand what these tools even are, or let alone how to use them, just because they come into existence. That's naive to think, and it's not something that a lot of tech people see. Like they even have like a little snorkel. The turtles are scuba diving. Oh, that is so cool. I need to make a sea turtle farm. And see, and that's the other thing. Like Waddles does all of it, and there's also Wadzi. I think he's like Australian or New Zealand, but he does a bunch of really cool Minecraft videos as well. But I like Waddles because Waddles is just like about as like absent-minded and scatterbrained as myself. So like he'll be doing something and then he'll be like, "Oh no, no, no," or he'll just randomly come across something. He's like, "Oh, whoa, this," and so I think he's got like 1.6 million followers. Yeah, definitely an expert in Minecraft videos, entertainment tutorials, stuff like that. These are still just rough drafts, I would say. But the religion thing, sorry, let's get back to that. Like, let's keep exploring. And then, yeah, the religion thing. So the Islam thing is an area of concern because, we've got 9/11, we've got the 20-year Iraq war that resulted from that. And we still don't even know for sure, like, who all was involved in that. I mean, there's theories. And there's also a lot of like unpatriotic thinking, like if you even like dare question the narrative that has been passed down. All right, so we do have Just got to remember that our base is okay. Well, there's the thing. It just gets so turned around. So, yeah, the base is a little off of there. It's in the same general area. So as long as we like come to here, we'll see that, and we can go back out. So, but anyways, like that's just why it's so dangerous, and politics and religion, and why people get so uncomfortable talking about them, is because are so important to our very lives, like everyone's life. Whether you believe in it or not, it still affects you. And even if you like, we're just because we're all connected, we're all becoming more connected every day, to where it's like, yeah, it's I don't know, but well, even just now. So I was watching a video from Sam Altman with I think he's Chat GPT or he's OpenAI or some AI company. I feel like they're all kind of connected in some point. If not, like at least they like share research or whatever. And I think that was even the gist of like what the guy was saying was like. So the question was is if an Indian company had maybe 10 million compared to like the 100 million or whatever that they had, like just kind of like get a frame of reference for scale like how big the Indian company was going to be. So like 1/10 of the resources, and we're talking that's 1/10 of the money to put towards engineers to develop the software for it, the hardware to be able to do that, and then because just because you know one or the other doesn't mean you know the other, and that's what I'm finding out quickly is like, well, no, I should say, it's kind of a common misconception and the people that learn computer science, there's a joke going around like, okay, just because I know computer science doesn't mean I can fix your printer. Or there's even more memes saying stuff like, well, I can, but not because I'm a computer scientist or something like that. Or like, because it is just kind of like understanding tech is just such a broad way to say it. I mean, and people don't understand because like kids today have only known that smartphones can do all of these things. And without these memes to say, oh no, this is actually what technology used to be, like even within my lifetime, technology used to be this. So that's why it's like so incredible. Whereas like the 80s, you had like the entire decade to wrap your mind around a cassette player or an 8-track tape. And then when we moved from 8 tracks to cassette tapes, that was massive. And so well, I guess okay, right there. And then once you get into the 90s, you still have cassette tapes, but then you have CDs, and then you have Blu-ray, and then you have DVDs, and then you have and then just media just changed from, and then it went digital. I feel like I want to say the first MP3s were like Napster, the very late 90s, early 2000s. The Y2K. You think about because that's Office Space for a little bit of frame of reference there, and that's part of the Office Space movie is they're preparing for the Y2K crash, and so they're updating a bunch of bank software, and hence why they can. Well, I don't want to spoil that or. Oh wow! Look at all these things just spawning in. It's so cool to see. Also, I think you are faster in a boat than swimming, so let's just go ahead and. Yeah, you are faster in a boat. I just got distracted. And that was the other thing I was just watching Waddles is like he mentioned that you have, drowned. And so if you're not in a boat when you're doing the exploring, it could be a bad time. And even if you are in a boat, you could still get attacked. And that's what's annoying traveling and exploring in not peaceful. If you go by one of those underwater temples, the water temples or whatever, like I forget what they are, the guardians or the ancient guardians. Yeah, I think that's what they're called. They attack you and they shoot these little rays out and they hit your boat. And if you get hit with enough of them, your boat can break and then you're in the water and then so you're moving slower. You're getting attacked by these things. So all that to say is I do want to go to some underwater temples eventually and get their sponges because that's where you get sponges. And then sponges will absorb water, and that allows for a lot more creative building. Not in creative mode, but just the word, like, you can start, it unlocks like a whole nother area of creativity, I guess you could say. Because then you can remove water. And just like how I built that column up to mark where the hole in the ground was to get to the other portal before we moved nether portals. Oh, see, there's another one. Or maybe that's the same one, actually, now that I think about it, because, yeah, I think that's the same temple, because it was on this side of the map. So, anyways, the religion thing. And then I'm also talking to this guy about Christianity. And mind you, I grew up Methodist. I chose to stop going once I was given a choice. That's my personal take on it. I mean, I feel like a lot of people would probably either do that or because if you keep going and keep going and keep going, like or maybe once every week is too much. I feel like it used to be like that, like it was a good idea because it took that long to communicate ideas. But now, like you could get so much more accomplished in just like a little bit. It's like why belabor the point? Why drag it out any more than it has to be? You know, be a good person, don't hurt others, and work hard. Like that's basically the main. If you want to talk about the pillars of Islam, I know there's four specific ones, or actually I don't even know that for sure. There could be more, could be less, but I know that they have specific things they call the pillars of Islam, or the main concepts of it. So the main points, just like with Christianity, the main points are. Follow the teachings, don't stray from the teachings. Um, so they just have to put that in there to be like, do this, don't that. And it's kind of like a safety thing. Just like, and you realize this when you're writing computer code, and, and this is kind of messed up because you do kind of feel like God when you're writing computer code sometimes because you're creating anything. Like we're literally exploring these worlds that were artificially created by someone and it's like chunk hang and see that's the almost blasphemous in Minecraft culture to be like, oh, I don't know. And as soon as somebody will say his name, Notch, there we go, I think it's Notch. But that sounds weird because then now that I say that, like notch is like a notch on a belt, a notch on wood, or like a cut into something. But whereas I was thinking it was like a block of wood. So sorry, that's kind of where that came from. Why I thought his name was Block Wood or something like that. But anyways, because I think about notches and wood, and also this is a very water heavy map as well. There's a lot of those. So I don't know how I feel about all that. Like it's easy to explore, but it's boring. Like it's just I don't know. But anyways, the religious part, and the reason it is one of the two taboos, which is politics and religion, and that's a concept that I kind of came up with, but it's definitely not foreign concept to any real American. Like, and also really people in the world are starting to figure out like those are the two problem areas of friction in society. Those are the main two. Like if you violate someone's religion or you violate someone's politics. Like and that was the whole thing. And watching that video from Tucker Carlson, it was good to watch it. Like I'm glad I watched it. I mean, I'm not excited. Like I don't like it, but it's good to see what the quote unquote other side is like thinking, what they're talking. And just like I'm talking religion or Christianity with this other guy, I'm basically telling him the point. I'm trying to be as respectful as possible. Is like, okay, so anyone who fully believes in like any of these religions is admitting that they're trusting something that is 2000 plus years old without any actual like recent evidence since that solidifies or proves or cements that idea. And so that's why I really like the ancient astronaut theory. Even as ridiculous as it might sound to a lot of people, if you really think about it, that makes the most sense. Like what would I do if I was an advanced civilization that could travel between planets, and then I created life on this planet. But then now it's starting to ask, and you got to think like Toy Story, Disney, and all these like others like movies to make you think about these other ideas. Yep, yep. See, that's really easy to see that, and we're gonna be going by the ruined portal now. Oh, this is so cool. It is cool. It's annoying. It's like mostly water, but at the same time, it is cool. But like, I don't know. Maybe the bottom half will be more land heavy, and then I'll start complaining about that because then it is like definitely harder to to explore. 'Cause see, even like right now, I gotta get out of my boat, and then that takes some time. Then I gotta chop it, make sure that a dolphin's not gonna run off with it, and the dolphin doesn't even keep it for that long. The dolphins and the foxes, they'll steal items that are floating on the ground. Like if they're just on the ground, they'll pick them up and they'll run around with them. Foxes are a little more mischievous, and that's just like the way their code is written. Is like they're sorry. Ooh, actually, this looks really cool. Like I can see. Oh, and then there's a jungle temple. So yeah, never mind. This map is really cool. Like, but again, whoever gets to like settle here, it's up for grabs. Like, I'm just gonna. I mean, in my circle. Sorry, I should clarify. I'm not gonna get into like that. Although maybe one day if I got huge, like if I mean, I wouldn't get to like Mr. Beast level, but if I got like millions of subscribers, I don't know. I might let my like 10 million subscriber build. Actually, I don't know. I'd have to say like every one of my millionth or something. It would have to be something special like that. But basically, or I don't know, it depends. Because you can only have like 10 people on a Minecraft realm, at least at a time. I think you can have an unlimited amount of people, but only 10 at a time. So that could run into problems really quick. Plus, then you have like 10 people editing the same world, so you would have to at least stick to your own map area and not really go outside of it. And even loading outside of it, because like even if you just built everywhere, like within every square inch of your map, then you're still loading in the surrounding areas. So if other people, oh yeah, as I say that, that's going to be really hard to traverse, like climbing mountains now. So wish granted, I guess, because I was just complaining about how it's all water, but that's fine. Um, it is going to take a little longer, but that's all right too, because actually it is almost exact. Well, no, I was gonna say we're at like 36 minutes. I just had to check, and I will do other things today. I promise. Although it is my weekend, and actually, like, with the schedules and everything, it's just me today, so I don't have my kiddos, and like, so, yeah. Again, more open source intelligence where I need to trust humanity to the point where, oh, I at least trust law enforcement in my area enough to the point where, as long as I keep a strong enough eye when they're in my custody, when they're in my care, like when I have them, okay. But then when I don't have them, it's out of my control, and I need to trust my co-parent, and I do. I trust my co-parent with my kids' lives, literally. So, yeah. Um, anyways, something to consider if you are in a co-parenting relationship, or even if you're just in a unhealthy co-parenting relationship, where, because either way, you are co-parents. Like whether you want to be the team or not, or if you're just not ready for that at that stage too, because that's the other thing. Like all of these teachings and these like, I don't think these are all like pure lessons or lectures, but sorry, now I'm like competing with the music. It's getting all loud, but basically, yeah, these are like the teachings of A-Rye. It's not Socrates, you know. It's nothing like earth-shattering, except for some of it might be. Ooh, oh, that's death. I almost fell off of that. Oh, and so anyways, anytime I'm worried about falling, I'll crouch because then you can't fall once or you're creeping. But yeah, that's as easy as it could be. It could sneak up on you and you could just fall to your death. So anyways, back to these videos, these musings, these teachings. Like that's what this is. It's like my observations from my life experiences, my memoirs, if you will. Or no, we're not even getting into that yet. Like that's more, and I think people do that on purpose because the things that people do in their life are probably too edgy for what their parents' generation was used to. And that's been true since the dawn of time probably because the rate of change is different from every generation. Like, and that causes friction. If you change too fast for people around you, then it could scare them. It could make them concerned. It can make them angry because they don't understand. And confusion causes anger. And oh, look, a awesome new village. That just looks really cool. I haven't seen one like that for a while, and not in this texture pack either. So, see, I'm trying to think like by the time I get the boat out and then put it away, I think it's probably about a wash as to how fast it is swimming. But yeah, no, this is like a taiga village, I want to say. Isn't taiga the acacia trees? Or I don't know. Waddles was saying the taiga biome, and I trust his judgment a little. Well, I mean, definitely a lot more, but I mean, because he's also playing Java version, so he can toggle. I think it's F3 on the computer. See, I'm playing on a PlayStation, so it's like I have a limited, well, as you can see, square and triangle. So, and that's Bedrock version, which is usually the console version, unless explicitly said otherwise. And see, I got to add that caveat or that addendum right there to make it a scalable statement, being like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Ooh, when I was about to run and jump, that would have been bad. It's so dangerous. Except not. Like, I mean, it could be worse. It could be the nether full of lava, magma. I guess it's magma when it's internal in the earth. Um, hmm. Let's see, like, I'm not quite. See. All right. Oof. And then that, let's see if it can. Yep. It sucks you down. Very far down. Whoa. And that was just one pull, and we were moving through it. You notice, like, these bubbles go all the way to the surface. Let's take a look at that. Because I have had a boat get sucked down. Because I parked on one, because there was kelp. And it sucks you down, and, like, I'm swimming back up now. Like, I let go of A. Okay, this is just me going into it. Whew. That's why they're really handy in like water elevators because you get pulled down really quickly. Oh, and you also get air from the bubbles. But if you get stuck on these things and you don't know what's going on, you could drown. And actually, we're just gonna go all the way to the top. It might hurt. Might hurt. Yep, smacked once. All right. Anyways, moving on. And actually, now we can get into our boat because now it actually makes sense. So yeah, it looks like we got our wish. I mean, this area is like half land, half, at least it looks like now. I mean, I could be wrong, but like just that, I mean, actually, if you look at the map so far, that is probably the perfect spot for where our base is, because it is like the junction between a Badlands, a desert, a jungle. You got Taiga down there. I think that's Taiga. Or Sierra is like what it's kind of like, the acacia tree area. So taiga is either the spruce trees or the acacia trees, and they're very different. Like, I want to say the spruce trees. I don't know. See, that almost sounds like a taiga biome. Whenever I hear Waddles talking about that, yeah. Then I wonder what the acacia trees was. It's like Sierra or so I almost want to say like Highlands sounds more like it'd be like what the spruce trees would be, because it is a completely different biome. Like with the spruce trees where they grow out usually, um, and even that has different subgroups within it because there's like trees that have a lot of podzoil because they're the 2x2 spruce trees, or there's yeah, I think it is taiga, but there's the biomes with the spruce trees where they're just the single 1x1 trees. I mean, all we really need now are the cherry groves, and then and that's what I was trying to find. Like, like as soon as I knew that this update was happening, I wanted to see the cherry trees, and those might be on like Mushroom Islands. I don't know, because I think that the one that Waddles was looking at was by a Mushroom Island. Oh, there's another ruin portal. I wonder if those are meant to also show you about how far away is far enough. Oh, so I don't even want to like boat over that because it could break your boat. And then the dolphin could take your boat, and then you have to chase the dolphin and wait until the dolphin drops the boat. If it drops the boat, and then you're sunk. Like then you don't have a boat. And as you can see out here, if we had to swim all of this, that would be pretty annoying. And the dolphin's just playing, having fun. It wants to take you to a shipwreck. It wants to take you to these cool places, but it also wants to take your stuff. So, anywho. And that's just how it's programmed. I mean, actually, when you say it that way, when you're dealing with problem solving with people, that's just how they're programmed too. Like their code is written. Now, there's two types of code. There's the code that they're built with, that they're born with, our DNA and our natural instincts, and even those are said to be shaped. If I'm remembering this right, Because now we're talking like biology and like stuff that I haven't really. But yeah, at the genetic level, all humans have a predetermined code, a DNA code, the deoxyribonucleic acids. I remember that because that was the longest word I could think of. Well, so I won this math competition back in elementary school because it was like if an A was worth 1 point and a B is worth 2 points, and it was like find the longest word. It was basically like a mix between Scrabble. And it was an icebreaker. We were trying to do like some kind of thing for school, and I said or first I said supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, which didn't count as a word. So then I said, okay, deoxyribonucleic acids, but it was still just the first word. And so I made sure that I actually won. So I kind of cheated the first time, and they were like, "Oh, I don't know if we can give you that." And then luckily I was quick enough to think about, okay, well then how about this? And so, and I don't know. I mean, I gotta wonder if it isn't because, not saying I'm like some kind of super genius or anything. I'm just saying like my mind, it's been easier for me to remember things just better. Like my memory works in a way that allows me to access more things. Maybe not in depth. It's more of a breadth versus a depth. So when you're talking like graph traversal algorithms, and what that means is like a graph is so a graph could be a couple of things. Sorry, in computer science, a graph is a data structure that has nodes and edges, and the edges are the lines connecting the dots, basically, and the nodes are the dots. So then you think about like a star constellation, and like each star would be a node, and then if you drew a line to connect the stars, each of those lines would be an edge. And really, once you've programmed a graph a couple of times, it becomes, pretty comfortable. That's really true with everything in computer science. Well, not really comfortable, I'd say. Like you start to understand it a little better. Like linked lists. Let's talk about those. So a linked list is like, so you have an object or a node, and that could have some information. Like, say if you're using a linked list for a registry for people that work. Sorry, not registry. Like I was also arguing with someone else about like sex crimes and pedophiles and all this really not so cheery stuff. Other things that I don't like to talk about when I'm like, because these are the things that like, yes, cybersecurity is trying to prevent and stop all crimes really. Because I mean, it's information technology. It's having a better look into how things are happening and if crimes are being committed, like, and it is kind of like the whole George Orwell, like the scary, like, oh, the government's going to know everything you do. And like, okay, well, is that really a bad thing? Like, we think about it, and it's awkward because people get scared about that because they're worried about what the bad thing is considered. And that's why it's so scary for a lot of people with religion, is because the bad thing can be whatever your religion says it is. Now, it's nothing new for the people that study religion day in and day out or every Sunday that actually know what these books say. But like then when you want to say like, oh, Sharia law, like, most Christians would be like, oh my gosh, no, we're not doing that. Like, get out of here with that. That's not, I don't sign off on that. Like, I don't want that. And it's like, because they don't know. They don't know what good and evil is according to that book. And then we don't have enough faith in each other to realize, well, good and evil is probably going to be the same in any of these books. But, you know, unless we know for sure. And that's the safe way to approach it, is like, you got to be a little hesitant about stuff like that, because it's, especially if it's life or death, because at least like if you're wrong and you just upset somebody, okay, like they can get over it. They can, they can come back from it. Like death is it's a permanent solution. And honestly, I don't think it's ever the right solution. Now, I'm talking about like death row inmates, people that have killed many other people. Like, okay, yeah, definitely lock them up for like 10, 20 years. But, I mean, and we're not to that point, I guess I should say. We're not to that point yet where we can just fix someone's brain and know for sure that they're fixed. But we're getting closer, and we're quickly finding out with a lot of nonviolent crimes that halfway houses and probation, although probation is kind of a laugh too, because probation doesn't go far enough, but then once you get to the point of jail and prison, then it goes too far. So, and it's like trying to find a happy balance. Like, really, it's like a halfway house or a residential rehab. And you could do rehab for criminal thinking. It doesn't have to just be for alcohol or drugs, it could be for criminal thinking. And so, and once you get into it, then you're rehabilitated. And that's the whole point of Department of Corrections is you're supposed to be rehabilitated. But people don't really say that as much. Just like, oh, it's a democracy or it's a republic. And I see that like often in Twitter. Like, oh, especially right now with the whole Trump thing. It's like, oh, we're no longer a true republic or this is a danger to our republic. And so Republicans will use the word republic because that's how they're, and so that causes the misunderstanding that we are a democracy. Oh no, we're a republic. And so who's the home and who's the visitor is basically what every American or most Americans, ooh, that's pretty cool. Most Americans are trying to figure that out because, like, for what team to be on, what like group to support, and how much to support that group. Okay, that gets annoying. How it's like right above your head the whole time. But anyways, um, well, and that is more like caves and spelunking and all that. Not that I've done a lot of it, but from what I've seen, in fact, that kind of freaks me out. I'm not claustrophobic per se. Ooh, and that could be dangerous. Yeah, that could be death. So you gotta be careful doing this exploring thing, but I do want to go this way to start covering more ground. But anyways, yeah, all this to say, oh, I forgot where I was even going with that, but basically people and their programming. So they are a lot like computers, and that's where computer science and sociology and psychology and behavioral psychology and like all these things, they tend to overlap because it is the science of how these systems cooperate, how these systems function independently, like just how these systems are. Ooh, that's cool. Ah, we're so high up here. That's why I like having like a mixture, even though it does take us a lot longer to explore these areas. Like it's a lot more fun because then it's like I don't know the open water. They have this some exciting points. Oh, and I have bones. I could have, well, not here. Oh wait, if you start seeing dogs, and usually that's a good indicator that you'll start seeing like spruce trees and yeah, I guess that is probably taiga. I don't even know what taiga means. It sounds like tiger or Tyga, the rapper. And see, and that's my oh, and then we'll get the emeralds. Not as excited as like, ooh, okay, just because we're kind of running low. We're still running low, but it's not as exciting now that we have like a massive emerald factory back home where we can just churn out entire blocks of emeralds. And see, that's the world in a nutshell too. We've got different parts of the world that have pretty much the same resources all around. Like we think that like Africa is this whole like thing. No, it's just they haven't been exploited yet. Like they haven't taken their resources, and it's really their resources. And then like I don't know, I saw this other tweet about China bragging about like what they did for Africa, which is great. But then, like, if you look at the comments, then people are like, oh, well, now you've just saddled them with a bunch of debt that they'll never be able to pay back. Or, oh, you got them to pay back in claims to their resources. So you're really a wolf in sheep's clothing because while you say, hey, we're really helping them, you're really doing it for yourself. But then you're doing it for them. And so, and that's the thing is like, people need to understand that you do need to do these things in order to do the things. Like, you don't, it just depends on the details. And so, and that's actually two of my characters. I've got, well, my family's characters. So my kids and I are coming up with like comics, cartoons, stuff like that. We're just learning like animation. I don't really know a whole lot. I know I used to use GIMP with Linux, but that was like for image editing. And then for actually like video editing, like real video editing. Sorry, I say not like the true Scotsman argument, where you just keep moving the goalposts where it doesn't actually fit. Something else I saw on Twitter. Oh, that is definitely unnerving. Oh, there is a village, but it's like it goes kind of a ways there. Let's go ahead and carve out that way. Oh, we gotta be careful though. Yeah, let's do it. I don't like it, but we're gonna. Because as long as we get around it. Oh, oh, and then there's the 5 minute warning. Like, all right, so we didn't quite get half of the map discovered in this episode, but and actually it's funny because you can even tell the hour of the day that I make these. It's in military time. It's the last number that I started doing on these musings. So like he can actually keep track of what time of day, which day I made these. Like, I don't know. And even that, that could be fed into an artificial intelligence algorithm that's been trained to correlate those to points, to data points, and then add those to like a Google Calendar or something or any calendar. Like, and I say Google a lot, but really, I know Microsoft has a lot of these same tools, and I am going to try to like start learning them as well. But the thing is I can only do so much. So my main focus right now is mm, actually there's two. There's two main foci or focuses. Yeah, foci. And I know there was that really cool village, or really cool. Every village is really cool when you run across it in the wild. It's like, oh hey, a village, and then you run in and start mobbing them and stealing their stuff and like breaking their houses, and it's just chaos. So if this was real life, no, we wouldn't be doing that. But this is just a fake world created all for me. I don't know. I was talking a little bit earlier about the God complex that computer scientists have because they make something, they write some code that handles something that can actually do something. Like we think of calculators as being some like magical like invention. Well, computer code can do calculations easily, and that's just how it works. So like once you get yes, no, on off for the zeros and ones, and then you can do everything else. Like then you can do addition, subtraction, and then all multiplication and division are addition and subtraction done in a loop. So like if you do like 3 times 3, that's really 3 plus 3 plus 3. So it's 3 added 3 times. And you got to remember that the initial one is one of those times. So it's like, yeah. So once you start thinking about numbers in that sense, then it's like, okay. And then you do exponential where you're adding them. Yeah, it's even more intense, or another factor of intensity. Mm. Yeah, so far I'm really liking Octavius or Octo, whatever we call it, the eighth realm. Oh yeah, then we've got the 9 realms. We can make a whole story about this. We can make like a whole Lord of the Rings type thing, or Dungeons and Dragons, where we have like all these backstories. We can do a lot of stuff. So let's see. And actually, it's kind of funny. Like almost every video game is like a Dungeons and Dragons. Like when you really get down to it, because you're creating a character, and most games too. Like I'm about to jump into Elden Ring, and I bought the game when it first came out, mind you, just because I am such a big fan of FromSoft, and I'm not rich. Remind you as well. I just said mind you a couple times, but I'm not rich. I'm not. I'm not where I would say I'm comfortably wealthy or anything like. Not even close. But I'm in a point enough to where, yeah, I feel comfortable making an investment like that because I know that Elden Ring is going to give me hours and hours and hours, if not days and days and days of enjoyment. But there'll be a lot of frustration in there too. But that makes the enjoyment that much more better. And that's like life in a nutshell. Like you want to talk the meaning of life, it's, well, okay, we got to be careful here. This could, I mean, it is going to hurt. Wait, no? Okay. Even there, okay, one got snuck in. But anyways, yeah, you can't really enjoy the ups without the downs. The downs make the ups even more enjoyable, and maybe that's why there's the meaning to life. And maybe what the Matrix meant by all that is like the human brain couldn't. Maybe it's not that the human brain couldn't. And again, this is all hypothetical, as the Matrix isn't real. Like, I mean, it's not proven. But anyways, like maybe that's why. And like, because if you think about it, like without the downs, you can't have the ups, and then you have to have the downs. Maybe sometimes the downs get too much, and then you get reincarnated and put back in somewhere else. All right, that's my time for this time. But now we're getting into Hinduism and Scientology. They're both about reincarnation, Xenu or and then the Hindu one. So, anyways, until next time, I'll see you. Actually, I'll probably be right back. All right, see ya.